وَلَا تُجَادِلُوا أَهْلَ الْكِتَابِ إِلَّا بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ. Do not argue with them until the best manners. Don't argue with the people of the book. Don't argue with a non-Muslim until through the best way. And one of the Holy Quran said, لَا تَسُبُّوا عَلِيَاتُهُمْ فَيَسُبُّوا اللَّهَ عَدْوًا بِغَيْرِ عِلْمٍ. There were some of these companions, at least at some time of the Prophet, who thought that they just can go and insult the idols of the kuffars. Allah said, no, don't insult their idols. They will retaliate insulting God without knowing.
Exactly.
There are people, because when people respect their religion, when people respect their faith, be careful. Then the way you penetrate them, it has to be very diplomatic.
The
approach is very important. It has to be very diplomatic. It has to be respectful in order for them to see in you what will attract them to also investigate your religion and know your worldview. But if you yourself, your conduct is as odd as any other conduct, it's going to be very difficult for them. Then وَلَا تُجَادِلُوا أَهْلَ الْكِتَابِ إِلَّا بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ. In another verse, and there's ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmati wal maw'izati al hasana. He said, call, invite them ila sabili rabbika, invite them to the way of Allah, bil hikmah, with wisdom, wal maw'izati al hasana, and good talk and good tidings. When you talk to them, these are all commandments from God to the Muslim who is called a Muslim, to develop a relationship with a non-Muslim, with anybody else, in order to invite him to the peace that he feels that is a peace. That is, if you feel that peace. Right? Because many of us, they claim to be Muslims, but they are not Muslims. ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmati wal maw'izati al hasana wajadilhum billati hiya ahsan, and then you argue with them in the best manner. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in a hadith also, the first ambassador that the Prophet sent was Mu'az ibn Jabal. Mu'az ibn Jabal was the first ambassador. He was sent to Yemen. And Yemen then, Aisatu, represented one of the superpowers. You see, there was a time the Black Empire, or like the Abyssinia and Ethiopia and Yemen, they really represented one of the most powerful empires then. But Yemen, of course, was inhabited by many Christians. And then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam chose Mu'az as the first ambassador and sent to him there. Can you see?
Yeah.
Can you see? And when he sent Mu'az, what did he tell him? The credentials that he gave Mu'az was this. إِنَّكَ لَتَأْتِي قَوْمًا أَهْلُ الْكِتَابِ. He said, you are going to meet people of the book. If you arrive there, please invite them. You see, invite them. Invite them to what? Allah ilaha illallah wa anni rasulullah. Go and invite them, tell them that there is no God worthy of worship but Allah. And that I am also the Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I think the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted to help them. You know why, Aisha? Because Islam is the religion of the package of all prophets. If you believe 124,000 prophets, if you believe 123 and you live to 24, you are not a Muslim. If any Muslim disbelieves any other prophet, he is not a Muslim. Islam is that religion that recognizes all the prophets as one package. When the prophet came as the seal of the prophets, he wanted to help them. He wanted to say, okay, look, please, O people of the book, come in a common terms. Can you just believe that I'm a prophet, and then we remain in this thing, because I believe in Jesus, I believe in Moses, I believe in all the things. Please just come and then we help each other. That's why he sent them to the people of Yemen. And then the Eastern Christianity was very much close to Islam. It was very sympathetic to Islam, Aisatu. If you see that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his lifetime was saved many times by the Christians. When he saw Jibril, and then he was like trembling, and then came in that state of
fear.
Yes, fear. And then he came to the wife Khadija. Khadija thought of Waraqat ibn Nawfal. Waraqat was a Christian, but who was still in the Western, who was still a scholar of Eastern Christianity as developed in the East. Now, he took it to Waraka. Waraka discovered and told him, look, he is going to be the next prophet. He said, somebody came to me, and then when he described the angel or that thing that came to him, Waraka said, Innahu namusu Musa. He is namusu Musa, meaning it is the angel that came also to Moses. It is the same angel that came to you. Look, Jibril came to all of them. That's why they are bound together. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Waraka said, I wish I could live to witness the day that you are going to be exiled. Then I would have, the Prophet said, am I going to be exiled? He said, of course, nobody like you ever appear until and unless his people exiled him.
That's right.
That was a Christian. When the Prophet ﷺ was 12, he was traveling with his uncle to Sham, to Syria, because they used to have this occasional caravan, this business caravan going and coming, business trip. The Prophet ﷺ was traveling with his uncle. When they reached the town of Busra, so there was this monk also who realized that in their book it was mentioned that this particular day something will happen, and then he was just waiting. And then when he saw them assembled, he cooked, in fact, and invited them. When they came, they left the young Muhammad behind. Then he said, look, I think you still have, there is a boy that you have to bring. He said, no, he's a boy. He said, bring him.
Bring him.
So when they brought the boy, when he looked at him, he really knew that that was the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he called his uncle and said, where is the father? He said, I am the father. He said, no, his father must have passed away. Then he said, I am the uncle. He said, okay, now I am advising you to return him to Mecca, because I don't think the road is safe. Because there are traps somewhere. You're going to be ambushed and he might be killed. Then he was saved by another monk. So then let us open I know that the discussion is
exactly, but
exciting.
we've now gone halfway. We can just open the lines for the callers also to join in. If they have questions they want to ask.
Question and answer, they can join us. I think you can also tell them the line.
4375905.
You see,
4375910.
Okay.
4373910.
Now, Aisatu, you can see that the Prophet ﷺ then was saved by these monks who still enjoyed the authenticity of Eastern Christianity, because it was very, very close to Islam. This is something that the Prophet never forgot. He always prepared himself to pay back, the good, or at least the favor that these people did for him. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that is why when in Medina, when he was coming to Medina, when he arrived in Medina, he prepared a constitution. The best constitution then, what we call the Constitution of Medina. If you read the Constitution of Medina, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam described others, meaning non-Muslims, Jews, as ummatun ma'al muslimin. The Jews are umma ma'al muslimin, meaning they are a nation, or they are a community with Muslims. They are their own community, but with Muslims. Meaning that we can still, you know, contract. We can still socialize. We can still. And then Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam also created what we call a pact, an agreement between him and the Muslims and the Christians of Najran. You see, so these are the things that you can find a lot in the books, and that can serve as the basis of the relationship, as long as the relationship is innocent. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam also, I said, based on this, he was very sympathetic. When you read, there is a verse in which Allah says, "Surah Alif Lam Mim Ghulibatir Rum, Alif Lam Mim Ghulibatir Rum fi adna al-ard, wa min ba'di ghalabihim sayaghlibun." Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Someone is on the line.
Alaikum salam.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Contact us in Islamic company.
Thank you.
It's very important, especially in youth in the good program.
Thank you.